right now, in virtual online schooling, kids are being tasked with things like synchronous learning, which is listening to teachers. They're also being tasked with asynchronous learning, which is learning to do work on their own. And then a lot of things are happening in breakout rooms, which are small group rooms with other students. And so if you think about it, there are two major skills that are being developed right now with online learning. One is learning to self-manage and learning to stay on task themselves. And the other thing that kids are learning, especially school age kids, are learning how to work collaboratively in small groups more than ever before. And I think that these types of learning opportunities can actually be looked at as major life skills that can absolutely benefit us down the line.
How so? I mean, how is a 5-year-old supposed to understand that, okay, I'm doing this in the kitchen right now. Mom is available if I need help, but this is going to benefit me later in life somehow?
Yeah, well, 5-year-olds are typically like more preschool age, right? So we're talking kindergarten and up. And admittedly, younger kids, it's a lot harder. So we have to be really careful about our expectations for sure, and maybe, but younger kids can still learn to self-regulate, right? So even if we're given 10 minutes of listening to the teacher, how can I support my kids in having uninterrupted, concentrated time that practices my listening skills?
Give us some ideas on how parents we can manage ourselves differently.
Sometimes when we are overwhelmed with kids and with work, our natural tendency is to avoid and push away and spend less time with our kids because we're already so overwhelmed with our kids. But actually, if we can approach our kids and say, okay, they have a 10-minute break at school, and I'm going to adjust my schedule to have that 10-minute time of break with them, then perhaps that time, and I truly believe the research supports that by giving that 10-minute a break or that 10-minute time of hands on hands with our kids will actually save us time down the line because our kids have kind of gotten that need met of social interaction.
Do you anticipate that families, children are going to take a step back because of all this?
So I think parents have like one concern, which is academically, my kids aren't going to be standard. I think another major concern of parents is that socially, my kids aren't going to get what they need. First of all, academically, there are ways that we can compensate, but to a certain extent, maybe academic progression isn't like the top priority when it comes to social concerns right now, right? So finding ways to adjust our expectations can be key. Now, in terms of social is really complex and it's different right now. So it's easy to say my kids don't have the same social interactions, and for sure they don't. But research actually supports that online you can still actually have a lot of social benefits from online. Screen time is not all the same. I think that there are some unique ways that kids can connect. Like for instance, maybe kids have more access to diversity in their friendship groups right now, right?
So it sounds like we should maybe perhaps lighten the expectations on our end and give ourselves, our partners, and our kids a little bit of a break because we're all managing a new stress.
Well, yeah, but I also think it goes beyond that. To be perfectly honest, I think that, Generation X was raised during the Cold War generation. I remember going to schools and going through nuclear testing, nuclear war raids in the hallways, right? And everybody at that time was like, how is this affecting the mental health and the psyche of our kids? And what we have since determined in that generation is that it has led to creativity. We were the latchkey kids. It's led to resiliency. It's led to innovation and entrepreneurial skills. So I guess my point being is that just because it's really difficult right now, that does not mean that on the other side we won't develop new skills and new ways of overcoming things. One example is that my child's teacher actually said, "Your children," and she's in fourth grade, "your children are going to be technological geniuses." And frankly, I kind of agree with her, right? So we have to kind of start looking that even though it's difficult, that doesn't mean that our kids are behind. In fact, in some ways, they might really become ahead.
All right, some positive thoughts there from Dr. Tricia Haynes. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you.